Hi and good evening. Welcome to my next show, Chat with Monica. And today we are definitely not going to be holding back with my guest, Philippa Gray. So stay tuned. We will be back.
Everybody wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be loved. All of us wish to be healthy. Everyone wants to enjoy life.
Art changes the world. It inspires people to stand up and speak up and support.
It was time and also between us we were able to.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to my next show, Chat with Monica. Today, I'm really excited to be talking to Philippa Gray, and we are definitely not going to be holding back during this chat, so stay tuned till the end. Okay, hello, Philippa, and welcome to my show.
Hi, Monica. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. It's been a long time, and long story short, it was planned back probably 2 years, I think, when we were meant to have a chat together, and it didn't happen. But you know what? The universe always plays its cards, and it's here right now.
Totally. Divine right timing, DRT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Philippa works with people. She helps them to really get unblocked, to get over their limits, and she works with their conscious and unconscious mind, which we are going to dive into a little bit further. But to start with, I really would love to hear your story. How you got to where you are right now. What was the path you took that you actually made a decision to help others?
Okay. Well, the path started a long time ago, more than 30 years ago. So I always really had a desire to want to help people. And when I was a teenager and not in a great place, I recognized at that time that I really needed to kind of get a command of my mind, that I realized that that really was going to be the answer to the challenges that I was having at the time. So that's kind of where it started for me. And then pretty much my whole career, I moved into sort of transformational work, wanting to help people transform their lives. So I've practiced lots of different modalities over the years, including, body work and EFT and all sorts of things. I'm a bit of a seeker, I think, and I was always looking for something, And so I think I moved from what I would call transformational work to transformational work several years ago, when I dived more into hypnosis and the power of trance and accessing people's unconscious to be able to break them free from whatever was holding them back. So, and that's really my passion. I'm here to help people break free from what's holding them back, the limiting beliefs and thoughts and the junk and baggage that we've been carrying around for our lives, to unleash our potentials and be who we're meant to be in the world, essentially.
Sounds amazing. And we are going to be talking about those blocks a bit later. But I would like to go back, because you said it was when you were a teenager when you kind of felt that you needed to make a change in your life. There was something that was definitely holding you back. So do you remember what it was exactly that was back then holding you back?
I think it was, growing up, I think I had quite a few challenges, and I think my own mind ran away with me. And I think I moved quite a lot as a kid, and I got to quite a lonely sort of place within my own mind. And I realized that to be able to get out of this, I mean, at the time, Monica, it was all really, about the power of positive thinking. That's really what it was at the time. That was the kind of movement back then. So I just dived into that and into trying to, I guess, get a grip on my thinking, if you like, because it was that overwhelm of the thought process that I know that a lot of people experience, and it feels like it is running away with you, and it's very sort of out of control. But I think I just realized at a young age that that's what I needed to kind of put my finger on and start to manage. And it's just kind of, you know, grown from there over the years, as you know, as I've learned along the way.
So back then, because I know when we are 16, it's quite hard to actually get a grip with your mindset and with, you know, put the finger on it, what is really going on, what is wrong. Because, you know, the truth is, even now, adults are not capable of doing that. You know, we tend to live in lies. We tend to think everything's okay when deep inside we feel it's not. And I really admire you for finding that truth actually at such a young age. That's why you are where you are right now, you know. So the journey has been probably quite challenging and tough, but I believe also successful, because otherwise you wouldn't be here talking to us and sharing what you know works. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously that fueled the passion to be able to want to share this with other people and help other people. You know, none of this stuff is taught in schools, which is like crazy, really. This is the kind of stuff that is the emotional intelligence. It's being able to manage your own emotions and understand how, you know, how stress works and how this sort of thought process works, to be able to, you know, help ourselves. Like some really simple skills make a massive difference. And I would love to see it become kind of mainstream and the norm, and so that everyone feels that actually, you know, you are in control. Yeah.
I like that you brought up actually, I would say even a problem or a massive issue, that this isn't taught in schools. Because I remember before I left the UK, I actually worked with a few young people, you know, between 15 and 18. And I was shocked and really like surprised that those people were struggling with depression and stress, and they were already on antidepressants, you know. And you're kind of like thinking, so right, we live in the 21st century, and we are not capable of actually adjusting the school, how it works, to support these children, you know, to support their growth into healthy adults, you know, because this is where it all begins, you know. And I think now these days with social media and everything else, it's so easy to really like, I would say unconsciously, to just follow the path of something that is not real, that damages us, you know, and not be aware of it, what to do with it. So I think, what about starting by really describing the issues that can be holding us back and how to work with them, even whenever it appears, you know, even if we are 16, if we are 20, if we are 30 or 40, you know, for everyone, it comes at different stage of their life, but how to really bring it up, you know, how to let it go, how to work with it. What would you say?
Okay, well, I think, you know, everything really starts with understanding at the end of the day. So looking at where it's all come from is about, you know, looking back in time. And from the moment we're born, well, actually, even before then, the moment that we're conceived, we are taking on and experiencing everything that's going on around us. And up until the age of 7, we're essentially walking around in a state of theta brainwave, which is hypnosis. And so kids are all in this state of hypnosis, and we have all been there, right? We've all been those kids ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have absorbed pretty much everything that was going on around us, because we were living in our emotional mind. And that's the place where we operate when we're a little person, and we're absorbing everything that's going on around us and taking everything as as fact, right? We're making everything that we're hearing fact. And they then become part of our personality. That becomes our beliefs. And a lot of them, most of us, let's face facts, haven't grown up in an environment that was, you know, positive and supportive. We've probably all heard things like, you know, life is just one stress after another. You know, there's never enough money, whatever it may happen to be. If you heard that kind of thing in your household when you were growing up, you've absorbed that, and that has become part of who you are now. And we now then operate from that place. So in actual fact, most of us have, you know, a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old essentially in the driving seat of our lives, making the daily decisions and everything that's running and happening in our lives. A lot of it is coming from those limiting thoughts, the behaviors and habits and everything that we took on as little people. And now we're showing up in the world and operating from that place. So I guess that's the starting point, really, Monica, is, you know, for people to know, okay, you know, it's like people, it doesn't make sense to people. It's like, you know, why do I keep behaving like this? I know this is not good for me, but why do I keep doing this? You know, it might be, God, I really want to, you know, I really want to quit smoking, or God, I wish I could lose weight, but I just can't keep my, you know, I can't stop eating the chips or eating the chocolate. It doesn't make any sense. I say I'm going to do it, but then it just doesn't happen. And that's because the emotional mind is running the program, which is the unconscious mind. And the conscious mind, which is the very small part that we're aware of, you know, we're thinking over 70,000 thoughts a day. And, you know, we're certainly not catching those 70,000 thoughts. Most of them are just like a tape player kind of droning on in the background, and we're operating from that place. So it's no wonder that, you know, people are limited and sort of held back in that sense, and not able to move forward because there's all this unconscious programming. So I think the first place to begin really is awareness, is to start to notice the thoughts. And most of them as well are not true, especially if you're in the stress spiral, thinking, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? You know, we know that 85% of what we stress about doesn't actually even happen. You know, 85% of what we're stressing about is not even going to happen. So, you know, you're stressing yourself out for something that's never going to happen because you're living in a place of what if. So when you start thinking those thoughts, the first thing to do is go, hold on a minute. Is that true? Is that even true? Is that, you know, I just thought that thought. Is that actually correct? Let me just check that. And is that actually even my thought? Because sometimes you'll actually even hear an adult's voice from when you were a kid in your head. So that's that's an interesting thing to listen to. You know, like some parents will say, oh my God, I sound like my mother. You know, when they're reprimanding their kids or when they're working with their kids, right? We hear this quite often. Of course you sound like your mother. Yeah, of course you do.
From your mother, yeah, obviously. I like how you were talking about the unconscious mind, and it really makes me think that we feed, and it's our decision to feed that unconscious mind. But because we are so full of those unconscious moments and thoughts, we do it unconsciously. You know, we are not aware of it most of the time. Like, that was my journey. You know, I wasn't aware that I was doing it, but I was doing it, and it certainly wasn't doing me any good. So when the moment came, and normally it's like an occasion or a situation in life where you hit the wall or the rock bottom, and you're kind of like, hold on a minute, I can't continue that way anymore because it's not gonna happen for me. You know, I'm not gonna be healthy, I'm not gonna be happy, and if I don't make a change in my life, then certainly nothing's going to happen, you know, but I don't want to continue that way. So what would it take to really like start right now, right here, for those who are watching, to change living life unconsciously, to actually make a decision to live life consciously?
Well, as I said, I think the first thing is awareness, to start to become aware. So, you know, we all have these mobile phones that pretty much most of us are almost married to these days. Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
It's
so
very true.
Yeah, you can set reminders. You just set reminders in your phone, as you know, as a starting point. Even if it's to start off with, do it every 5 minutes. Set a reminder. There's some apps out there. There's these little mindfulness bell apps you can get. Set a reminder, so it gives you a little prompt. You get a little ding, and at that point, that's where you check. Oh, what am I thinking? You know, what thought was I just thinking? Just to start to train yourself. You know, we can train ourselves to do anything at any time in life. That story, you know, that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, is absolutely not the truth. You can learn something new at any time. So just start with the awareness, really, and start catching your thought process. And when your little bell goes off and you check in with that thought, if it's a stressful thought, ask yourself, you know, questions are really powerful. If we ask ourselves questions, it's much more powerful than kind of making statements in a way, and asking yourself, oh, is this true? And actually, is that my belief? So you're then starting to begin to question your thinking. And as you do that, your mind gets on board with that process. But it is about, you know, consistency and repetition. So that's from a conscious perspective. You know, one of the things that you can do, using your breathing. There's loads of different types of breath work techniques. You know, we know neuroscience tells us that our nervous system and our minds are intrinsically linked. Okay, so using your breathing, that's using your nervous system, that's using your body to control your mind. You can equally use your body to control your mind as you can, you know, your mind to control your body. And when you do that, you're changing your biochemistry. It doesn't matter which way round it goes, whether it's, you know, mind to body or body to mind. It's working either way, and you're changing the biochemistry. But it's about, again, being consistent and getting on board with that process. You know, one of my favorite, I don't know if you do breathing techniques, Monica, if you've probably been down this. Yeah, you've probably been down this road. I call it puppy breathing. Because dogs do it all the time, and we do it as humans. When, you know, everybody, if you've had a good cry and you've got to the point of sobbing, you will have done this kind of breathing, and it's just 2 short breaths in and then 1 breath out, exhale through the mouth. So, you know, when you sob, you go it's that kind of breathing. But dogs do it naturally. I mean, dogs are naturally chilled out, right? Mine's out there now, loving life.
Chilling.
Yeah. So do the puppy breathing when you feel yourself getting stressed. Just do a little bit of puppy breathing. So it's working with, you know, I wholeheartedly believe in using the body and the mind together. Whichever one comes first, and whichever moment is appropriate. But I think when you're stressed, it's good to use your body, and breathing is a perfect way to bring yourself back into the right kind of balance, and get yourself from fight or flight into that rest and digest place really quite quickly as well. Yeah.
I think it's also important to actually make a decision. I am going to do something about it, because I no longer want to be holding myself back. and I no longer want to live that unconscious life that is not bringing me anything. I like that. And I like the second part that actually you said that you can use your mind to control your body. You can use your body to kind of control or affect, maybe more is affect your mind and the other way around and work with it together. Because the truth is, we do what we tell ourselves to do, either consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
So if the stress situation comes, it's in our own benefit to actually grab it as it starts, as you said, become aware of it, and then decide what am I going to do with it, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right, Monica. You know, it's about making a choice. It's that decision, you know, and the choice leads to the change. But ultimately, you have to decide. It is making that decision to be able to, you know, to move forward, and then taking the steps to make that happen. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah. And I like how you're actually describing it because people can actually do it anytime. And don't get me wrong, but everybody breathes every day for their whole life. So
Yeah.
why not actually starting right there to actually, yeah, take a few swimming breaths in and let it out, you know? It's like we do it when we cry. So why wouldn't we choose actually for free right now when I'm feeling crap, if I say it that way, because no one wants to be stressed or depressed, you know, and just change that mindset, change that kind of like unconscious mind to conscious, actually, yeah, I'm going to do it because I want to feel different.
Yeah, I mean that unconscious, you know, poppy breathing, if you like, when we sob, that's our body's natural mechanism to calm us down, to get us back into that place. So unconsciously, your body knows how to do this stuff. It's just about bringing it into your conscious awareness, making that choice to make that happen for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And everybody is definitely in charge of their life, of how they feel, and how they're going to choose to live from now on. Because I think people that would be listening and it will be saying something to them, they can really make that decision right now, right here. Well, I'm going to try it because I know I've got some work to do on myself. And if you haven't done it at 16 and, you know, from then, forward, then you obviously wouldn't know all this stuff. So you know what you're talking about and you know it works because you've tried it.
Yeah, that's it. It's, you know, you've got to, what is it? Walk the talk kind of thing.
Walk the talk.
Yeah, walk the talk.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, I've done it. I try it out, and you know, I guess I've taken on the things that have worked best for me. And it really, you know, it really is a journey of, you know, exploration. All of this to find what works for you, and I think it's about making it simple and building things into your life and into your routine. You know, you've got to be realistic. It's not realistic to say, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to meditate for 2 hours. You know, that is not sustainable. It's about, you know, slow, incremental little things. You know, it starts with a bit of discipline. You do have to create a bit of discipline first for these conscious kind of things. Of course you do, because it's about getting your, you know, your conscious mind on board. I mean, there's things that you can work with, obviously, with your unconscious mind, which I know you're probably going to ask me about as well. But from, you know, from a conscious perspective, it is about creating a little bit of discipline at first. So then the process just becomes a habit, but it becomes a habit that you want, that enhances your life, that makes your life better, and that makes you feel better and want to do more of it. But it's, yeah, slow and steady wins the race, I think, is the way ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you actually recommend people to work with that unconscious mind apart from actually being aware and making a decision? Because I don't know whether we should start actually by clarifying what things or the blockages we have inside us can be holding us back, because if we do like state a few, people will get an idea what is holding them back and where the unconscious mind is taking over too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things, isn't there? For, you know, I'm sure with your audience, there's loads of different things that hold people back, and depending on where you are in your journey, I know for a lot of people at the moment, it's just the level of stress that they're feeling. They just like to get a handle on that, and, you know, feel moving back into a sense of normality and feel, you know, and feel calm with that. And for other people, you know, this whole pandemic has created a change of career. So that's meant that, you know, they've needed to do things differently and perhaps, you know, show up in the world differently. And, you know, people have moved from being employed to being self-employed. So that means, okay, so now I need to be, you know, proactive every day and make that happen. And if you're procrastinating, you know, that you're essentially sabotaging yourself there somewhere along the line. And why is that happening? And all of this stuff is usually happening because our mind's primary job is to keep you alive and to keep you well and safe. And if it believes, remember the first 7 years that I talked about, if it believes for some reason that you getting out there in the world and doing your own thing is going to put you into, remember, this is the emotional mind, so this is not logical either. There's no kind of rational reasoning with this, is that you essentially are not going to do it because there's a part of your mind that's saying, oh no, you know, you need to be careful, that's risky, you might get hurt, what if people judge you, you know, or you know, what if you put that video out there and then you get a whole load of people making awful comments and all that kind of stuff. How are you going to cope with that? And so you're in the what if. Okay, you're spiraling down, you're going down that track. So it's about catching those thoughts as well, but you're spiraling down with that. And this is all really essentially about your mind looking after you. It wants to keep you safe, and it wants to keep you well and happy, but mostly alive. That's its main focus. And you know, people will say, won't they, I would rather at the funeral, I'd rather actually be in the box than standing up giving the eulogy, because the thought of public speaking for most people makes them want to, you know, actually be in the box instead. It feels that bad, and it's all that judgment and all those sorts of things. So again, it's about starting with the awareness, I guess.
Yeah. And I think it's really easy to stay in that comfort zone, because that's basically what it also is. You know,
Totally,
kind of the mind is trying to keeping us safe within that bubble. But we don't want to stay there because we don't want to be holding back, and we don't want to be held back by anything, you know, because life is far more exciting when you actually go out there, when you have your word, when you know you have power to bring into your life whatever you wish for, and that yes, you deserve actually to live happy and healthy life. You know, it's not that difficult, but that programming, as you were talking about, for those 7 years is very crucial in our life. So how can we help people to really start right now, right here, to break through that comfort zone, you know, to go get a grip, be aware, make a decision, and follow this, try it the way it's going to work for you. But yes, on the other side, there is something more exciting for you. And I think when you get over that, you get stronger. And, you know, that fear will start kind of like fading away. But that means working on that conscious mind. So for those that are actually ready, or even for those that are not ready, but it's on their mind, you know, because if it's on their mind, it's always telling them something, you know, make a move. And I think it's listening to our instinct as well, because it is somewhere deep inside us. You know, everybody deserves it, so they can go for it. But how? How can they?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I absolutely agree. You know, the magic exists on the outside of the comfort zone. It's definitely not in that comfort zone. So if you want something different, it is about stretching yourself and reaching out. And then, you know, we all know whenever you've done anything new, whenever you've experienced anything new that you were perhaps afraid of, even if you think back to the first time you rode a bike or got in the car and drove, you know, or swam the first, you know, length of the swimming pool, it's an amazing feeling. And that, what that does in our brains as well, it creates, you know, those little dopamine rewards. So, you know, I would say celebrate every little incremental small thing that you achieve. It doesn't matter what it is. That will make a massive difference to your journey. That will be the first thing that I would say is celebrate everything. Not just, you know, get to the end and then go, yeah, you know, along the way it's yeah kind of thing. So that's definitely one thing. I think working with the conscious mind is much harder work. It requires discipline. So all those tips that I gave earlier, it is about creating new habits, whatever they might be for you. And a lot of it is about preparation. You know, if you want to do something different, then, you know, set yourself up for success with that. So if whatever it may happen to be, if you say I'm gonna journal, or you know, I am gonna meditate, then set yourself up for the next day that when you get up in the morning, everything is ready for you to do it. So you've already prepared your mind the night before. So they're kind of, you know, conscious, simple things that you can do. I've just noticed my battery's just, hold on just 1 second.
That's okay.
Hold the line.
That's okay. Yeah, I love what you were talking about, achievements as well, and I'm gonna come back into it when you finish talking. So that's brilliant. Continue. That's okay.
Yeah. So the conscious mind obviously requires effort, and that's often why, you know, our New Year's resolutions perhaps don't work out for us. It's very short-lived. So it is about consistency with those things. In terms of, you know, diving into deeper stuff in terms of unconscious work, it is about, you know, it is about hypnosis, and it is about getting your brain into that state of hypnosis, because when it's in a state of hypnosis, that's when the neuroplasticity happens. You know, that's when the changes can happen. And that's literally, you know, we talk about stretching ourselves. That's almost literally what's going on in our minds. And that can happen, you know, right up until the day you die. You've got neuroplasticity going on if you want it. So, yeah, I would highly recommend hypnosis. There's lots of self-hypnosis recordings that are online and available to listen to for, you know, creating that state of change. Obviously seeing somebody to deal with, you know, specific issues that are holding you back. I think a lot of people potentially feel, especially if they've been on a bit of a journey of personal growth, they perhaps feel that they know what their nemesis is, but, you know, it's still getting them. And I would say definitely, you know, dive into some one-to-one hypnosis and explore that, because that's where, you know, a therapist is going to be able to access that part of your unconscious that's been running that safety program, that's been looking after you, that's been keeping you safe and well. But you created that when you were 4 years old, you know, and you're 44 now. So, you know, it's about that's the, you know, the sort of ultimate hack, and that's obviously a faster track. But I wholeheartedly believe that the conscious work and the making the daily decisions and setting routines and setting yourself up for success is absolutely critical as well.
Yeah, I'm going to grab really two important words, because one is making a new habit, because I think that's absolutely crucial and one real key step to actually changing your life. Because whenever we have those moments where we feel stressed, where we are really running on that unconscious state of mind, then that also is a habit in a way. If it keeps coming back in the same form, in the same feeling, and nothing really is changing, then it became a habit, unhealthy habit for us. And I like that you were in the beginning really comparing the little things, that achievement, that excitement about it, perhaps, riding a bike for the first time, you never gave up on that, because you knew that other people did it and it made them feel good. They went for it and they did it, and you can do it too. So you don't give up after 1, 2, 3, 4 falls. You get up and you go, because it's doable. And it's the same thing that we are talking about here. It is doable to live consciously and push your boundaries and get out of your comfort zone. But again, it comes back to making it a new habit and replacing the old ones, which I believe if people really focused on that consciously, then their lives would be completely different.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. And I think it's about not, don't bite off more than you can chew, as the saying goes. Some people think, okay, I'm going to change my life. And then, what's the saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But then they try to stuff the whole elephant in their mouth all at once. It's just like, one bite at a time, just little incremental steps. Maybe decide that you're going to start, one new habit 1 week, and start with that. And it's incremental, small changes. Even if it's, I'm going to read for 5 minutes every day. Whatever it may happen to be, to move you in the direction. When you add all of that together and you look at all of that across, a 12-month period, that's a significant amount of reading, and that's a massive amount of change. And I think often, I was talking to a client earlier, often it's the thinking, I have to do this every day, and how long does that take? Up to half an hour. Okay, well, could you just do 5 minutes? I could do 5 minutes. Great. Okay, well, do 5 minutes then instead. That's doable. Make it doable. When something seems massive, you're not gonna do it. You just and that's why the New Year's Eve resolutions don't happen. People go out, buy all the gym kit, get everything, and then 3 weeks later they've no one's at the gym, kind of thing. True, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And I think it's like that with everything. But I love the example you've just given, because people tend to kind of forget about it. And I like the question you put out there. It's like, how long is it going to take? Well, how long has it been taking you to get to this state? That's how long it's going to take you to get out of it. And it's up to you whether you put your mind into it consciously and give it every day those 5 minutes, or it's going to be much slower process if you do it every other day, or if you do it once a week. Obviously, the old habits and all the blockages and everything that's been holding us back has been there for some time. It created a strong layer around us. So in order for us to break it, to change it, to replace it with something good, of course it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen, as you said, one day I'll decide I'll meditate for 2 hours. It's not going to give me anything, is it?
Yeah, I love what you said then. It's like, you've kind of built up these sort of layers on the outside. And then people are trying to break free really, really quickly. And you've got a lifetime's worth of, junk there. Whereas if you're on the inside, you know, with your little chisel, and you're just kind of, you know, chipping away every day, doing a little bit, you know, it's that slow and steady wins the race. Get yourself a chisel and just start chipping away.
Right now. Yeah, exactly. I love how you say it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely, you know, people really can picture it. Like, you know, the question isn't how long is it gonna take? It's how long are you gonna give it? You know, if you unconsciously built all that up, then how long are you gonna give it to break free? Really, as you said, I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's a journey. You've just got to begin, haven't you? And it's the consistency. And I think what happens as well with that sort of change as well, when you know, when you're making conscious change and you're creating new habits, it's like it sort of almost happens and you don't even realize that you've created this new habit. And you've just kind of forgotten about it, and you can't even actually really remember when you began, because now this is your new way of being. But if you want to have a different reality, as Joe Dispenza would say, you need to change your personality, and most of us are operating from that personality that was formed up until the age of 7. So it's about changing that to actually suit the life that you want to live now. What the 7-year-old took on was definitely about safety, and it was definitely about just believing everything that was going on around them and taking it as truth. So question yourself all the time, and you're thinking thoughts, is that true? And is that even mine? Yeah, no, thank you.
I like that. No, thank you. That is nice, because you are, I think, by saying no, thank you to it, you are accepting that it's been there and it happened. You are definitely getting aware of it. But secondly, you are consciously probably making a decision that it doesn't suit you and you want to change it.
Yeah.
I quite like that. I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you kind of, I think it takes is it 21 days to get the new habit into your system, if I'm going to say it that way? I think that's what they say. Is it something like that?
Yeah, look, neuroscience basically tells us that at the 21-day mark, what we know is that that's kind of the real kind of beginnings of the embedding of the new neural pathways. Yeah. Latest science, because the neuroscience is really quite a new science, really, tells us that it's actually more like 63 days, I guess, to really, embed something. But that's not to say that, for some people, it just happens. It just happens like that. Total transformations do absolutely happen. But I think it's about, that's why, if you're listening to some self-hypnosis, just keep listening. Don't stop at 21 days. Make this part of your life. Do it every day. The neuroplasticity is going on all the time that you're listening. You're in that brainwave. That's where the magic is, where the neuroplasticity is. That's where you're creating those new habits, those new thoughts, that new way of feeling and thinking, and that's where it will all happen. So yeah, I'd say it really, listen beyond 21 days and continue with whatever it is that you're doing, because you need to really get it in your body. Yeah. You've got to get it. You've got to embody everything. You've got to get it in your body, because, feelings are the language of the body. So you've really got to get it in your body. It's like when you started to learn to drive the car or ride a bike, when you first got in, it was like, oh, holy dooly, this is so much, you know, hands, feet, mirror, I'm going to hit that man on the bike. You know, there's so many things going on. Now you get in the car and it just happens. It's just, you're on autopilot. You don't have to think about it. And you can drive miles and not even realize that you've you know, missed a massive stretch of the journey. And that's because you're in a state of hypnosis, because your unconscious has taken over. So you know, it doesn't take 21 days to learn to drive a car. I'd say generally it takes longer than that to get it in your body. So that's what you need to do. Get everything in your body. The body-mind connection is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I am going to really grab that unconscious mind now with what you said, with that kind of like comparison, because that's a good unconscious feeling. And you mentioned that word feeling many times in what you've just said, and I like it because it's all about how we feel during our lifetime. For God's sake, really, if you want to feel good, then grab something and, as you said, get it into your system that makes you feel good. Why would you choose to do something that does not make you feel good, you know? And I would actually point out what I love sort of saying is we are like ants. We laugh easy, fast, and something that we don't have to really focus on. You know, it's easy. Life is easy. It's just ticking along. But if we made that unconscious decision to go the same route again and again and again, because the ants always go the same way, they know how to find a way back. But you are on that autopilot. You know, you're not really living. And in order to change it, you've got to take another direction. Because if this is not what makes you feel good, then what's the point of keeping that? What's the point of going into the same kind of mindset zone, doing it unconsciously, and actually feeding that bad habit that's sucking you off, you know, making you tired and depressed? And what's the point of doing it in the first place, you know? And we come back to the beginning of becoming aware of it and making a decision to actually do something about it. You've got to make a change in your life if you want to feel different.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it starts with us as, you know, individuals. I think what happens for a lot of people, Monica, is they get to probably a point of absolute desperation sometimes before they do anything. It's like the pain then becomes so unbearable that, you know, I have to do something to change. So I, you know, obviously encourage people not to wait to get to that point, to make a change. You know, if you're not happy in your life with something, you can change it. It is possible to change it, and there's so much resource out there and so much support to help you. I mean, now it's just, you know, incredible, really, what we've got just, you know, in our pockets to be able to, you know, help us to get out of a hole, so to speak. So yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also challenging to actually admit it to ourselves that something's wrong. I think our ego, you know, plays a very important part in that. And I remember it was hard for me to actually admit that I wasn't happy, I wasn't healthy, I wasn't enjoying life, you know. It's hard for us to really say, like, you know, to yourself, I am not happy, I am not living life that I enjoy, you know. And then, you know, once you become aware of it and you admit it to yourself, I think that's when the change can really take a part. But no one is going to do it for you. It's got to be you to really make that decision and go and do it. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think I think a lot of people get to the stage where they're, you know, sick and tired of being sick and tired is the, you know, is the phrase, really. And when you're at that point, you know, the only way is up. And you know, we're not saying that it's easy. But then at the same time, you know, staying where you are is gonna give you the same results. So there is, I can guarantee you, there is a level of discomfort, people, and you know, your options are stay with the discomfort that you've got, knowing that it'll be like that forever, or try some new discomfort, knowing that there will be a payoff and that there will be a reward and that your life will be happier. That would be what I would say.
Go for that achievement. I like that.
Yeah.
Get excited about your new life and your conscious mind actually pushing you forward without boundaries.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Super. I think I've got goosebumps now. I think that's a very good sign. I think that's a brilliant sign. Philippa, thank you so much for your time. And just the last kind of question or whatever, however you want to take it. If there was one thing you would leave with our listeners and viewers and everyone who's listening right now and watching, what would you leave them with? Like, what would you leave in their mind?
I would say to them that there is a 1 in 400 trillion chance of you being alive. So the odds of you actually being here in a physical body on the planet are a 1 in 400 trillion chance. That means you are exceptionally unique, and you are meant to be here, and you are meant to live a life of joy and happiness. And I would say just grab it with both hands, reach out for the resources, and do whatever you need to do to live that life of unique joy that you are meant to live. That's what I would say, Monika.
Amen to those words. I've got nothing to say, really. Beautifully said, every single word. You will just let that fade away or fade into people and take it however you want, but live your life to your fullest potential, because that's why you are here. Thank you so much, Philippa, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Monika. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right. Have a wonderful and blessed evening, everyone. And you too, Philippa. I'll catch up with you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Monika.